That sounds wonderful.
Here we go. Recording is now started, and I'll just do a quick welcome to everybody here. I'm Paul
great.
Hieronymus. I am the Technology Director for the North Ridgeville City Schools, and I'm also the Vice Chairman of the Ohio Distance Learning Association. We were thrilled to see that Newsela, and I'm going to say that correctly, right? Did I say that right, Jenna?
Close. It's Newsela, but I mean, at least we're getting rid of the Newsela ELA thing, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I made that mistake earlier, so we'll have that. I'll probably do it wrong about 2 more times, and I apologize ahead of time. But happy that we're able to have access to these amazing resources, and thrilled that you guys are able to really walk us through the everything that goes with those. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Jenna, and then we'll go ahead and have everybody please keep your microphones on mute. If you have a question, throw it into the chat. And then we'll go. I'll help facilitate that when that time comes around as well. So
awesome.
Thank you, everybody. I'll go ahead and mute and let the expert take us forward.
Perfect. And then if you could give presentation mode to me, or do I already have it actually?
You should already have it.
I do. Okay, perfect. That's awesome. Great. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right, let me put this into. How's that look for everybody? Looks good?
Looks fantastic.
All right, awesome. So thank you all so much for joining us today. Happy April 1st, if we're even counting what the actual date is anymore. Times are funky, but excited to chat with you all and walk you guys through how Newsela can specifically be used to support elementary educators with distance learning. So to start here, we're going to do some brief introductions. So this is an older, I look so young and fresh in this photo after all of this quarantine. Times are tough. Anyway, so my name is Jenna. I am responsible for district partnerships in the Midwest. I used to specifically just work with the state of Ohio. I'm a former 9th and 10th grade English teacher, used Newsela in my own classroom for a while. And I like to consider myself to be a Newsela fangirl. So really excited to walk you guys through what we have available on the platform today. And then I have my 2 colleagues that have joined us. I'm going to let them introduce themselves as well. I'll kick it over to Lauren first.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lauren Sturworth. I am the district account manager for the Midwest. I live in Ohio, just in between Dayton and Cincinnati. So really looking forward to helping you all and supporting you across the call.
And then, hey, everybody, I'm Tyler Overstreet. I'm the Learning Engagement Manager for the state of Ohio. My role is really like the implementation, day-to-day engagement with teachers, make sure they have the resources and tools that they need to be successful in using Newsela.
Awesome. So guys, the next thing that we want to do, since we do have an hour here, we want this to be as interactive as possible. I know that that can be a little bit tough, but our first question that we want to pose to all of you, so what do elementary teachers need to successfully implement distance learning throughout this time? So if you want to unmute yourself, if you want to utilize that chat box there, we want to make this as targeted and specific for all of you as possible. So it would be great if you guys could utilize those features to maybe speak up and talk about what you need as educators. Gosh, I thought people would be starved for social interaction, that we'd get people unmuting themselves immediately here.
So real quick, if you're new to Zoom and you don't know how to unmute, just take your mouse and scroll to the bottom left-hand corner and click on the microphone.
Hopefully that's what's happening, right?
So I have a Newsela account already. I haven't really used it yet. I teach in a Montessori school. I teach grades 4, 5, and 6. I posted a question to the chat. And I'm just wondering, what is the best way to set up my classes? Should I set up a separate class for each subject and each grade and each homeroom? Can I just have 2 groups of, one homeroom and the other homeroom? Can I put all the kids together? What's the best, easiest way, do you think?
So Andrea, you have total flexibility to approach that in whatever way that you see best. If you even want to shoot us an email after this, we can spend some time just talking about your unique needs and what makes the most sense for you. Honestly, if you want to assign things to individual classes, then maybe set up different classes. But if you're planning on assigning the same things to everyone, then you might just want to set up one class. It's going to really depend on those assignment functionalities.
Okay.
So it sounds like, so far based on what's coming in the chat here, it sounds like you guys are looking for resources that can be used in Zoom meetings, which we're obviously on one right now, so definitely important. You guys need resources aligned to the Ohio Learning Standards for Social Studies and Science. It seems like you guys are looking for resources that align to Google Classroom. Differentiation, you need that differentiation component in terms of what you're looking for with distance learning resources. What else is coming up? I'm reading these chats as they're coming in for people that don't want to unmute themselves. Obviously, the capacity to assign things remotely while we're not allowed to actually spend physical time with our students, definitely something that's of utmost importance here. Annotations, the ability for students to really interact directly with the text. Yeah, for sure. Anything else, guys, that's immediately coming to mind here? Resources that are easy to use. So obviously resources that provide like getting started, how do we assign things? So things that do provide PD as well as just an actual resource itself, it sounds like. Great. Easy to organize and easy to find resources, definitely important there. All right, guys, so we can just dive in. You can continue to use that chat feature, however works best for you. But really where we wanted to start today is we wanted to walk you guys through those basic tenets of Newsela and what we're really well known for. And then we're going to talk about those distance learning resources. So for folks that might not be as familiar, we do want to increase that familiarity. So to give you guys some context on who we are as an organization, every single day we push out at least 10 brand new texts that are all leveled at 5 different reading levels. So we have over 100 content partners. And then what we do is every day we basically look at what they're pushing out and we decide what we're going to put on our site leveled at those 5 different reading levels. So things like National Geographic, the Associated Press, Washington Post, History.com. So a really diverse range of resources. So you can anticipate that we are going to have authentic pieces of text on our site. It's actually going to be a combination of current events. It's going to be things like primary sources, content knowledge pieces, biographies, segments on careers. We have myths and legends. We now have fiction and poetry. So a really diverse range of content, all leveled at those 5 different reading levels. So to start, we're going to do a little activity just to really understand the power of what Newsela is able to do. So one thing, and especially as elementary teachers, which I think majority of the folks on the line are, one thing that is particularly challenging as an educator is how do we possibly use these authentic texts, like this particular speech, President Kennedy's speech on race from 1963, how do we possibly use something like this with elementary students or with students that are below grade level? So what I want you guys to look at here, this is the article, or not the article, this is the speech as it was initially written. So what you'll notice up here, if you guys can see my cursor, we're looking at this at the max level. So this is as it was originally written or spoken. So I want everyone to take a really quick second and I want you to read this paragraph. So we'll give maybe 2 minutes. It's 1:10 right now. We'll give you till 1:12. And I just want you to read through this and kind of internalize what's being said here. And I want you to think about your kids. If this was a conversation that you were trying to have with your students, what would happen if this paragraph was placed in front of them? Give you guys another minute there. All right, so hopefully everybody took the time to just read this paragraph, this excerpt here. I want you to think about your students, and I want you to think about, even though this is something that you might want to tackle with your kids, is this something that you could potentially put in front of a fifth grader that you feel as if they'd be able to internalize and understand what's happening? I want you guys to just think about that for a minute. And now I want you to actually, what you'll notice is I've lowered this down to the 830 Lexile level. Now I want you to read this paragraph as it's leveled, and I want you to think about your students in particular and the power that this might have for the kids in your classroom. So take 2 minutes. So we'll talk about this at 1:14. All right, guys, let's come back together here. So what I want to do is I want to talk about the power of what we were just able to do with this speech, specifically from an elementary perspective. So still alive. So guys, give me some things that you're noticing right off the bat and how you think this could potentially be powerful with your students. So you can either unmute yourself, you can type it into the chat box, but I really want to hear from you guys here.
It's the same content, but it's shorter, so fewer words.
Yep. Length, 1,000%. Somebody just, oh, go ahead.
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary for sure. The way the text even looks is less intimidating, breaking down concepts that students are going to understand and be able to relate to. I'm loving what people are writing in this chat box here. What's the power of something like this, guys?
Differentiation. Everyone can read at their own level, but still discuss the same topic.
Definitely. Exactly. So now everyone is involved in this classroom conversation. If you have a student that's reading at a 2nd grade reading level versus a student that's reading at a 6th grade reading level, which we all know majority of our classrooms are going to have students of varying abilities, this content is now accessible to every single student in that classroom. One thing that I particularly loved about Newsela in my own classroom is the students that participated completely shifted when I started using Newsela. It became something where everyone felt like they were smart and everyone felt like they could contribute to that classroom conversation. And that to me was just so beautiful and so powerful. And that's why I joke that I'm a Newsela fangirl, but that's why it just totally shifts the types of conversations that you can have in the class, and how students really feel about their abilities and what they can contribute to what's happening on a daily basis. So this was a turn and talk is always wonderful. Unfortunately, during quarantine, it's not the most effective of activities, but this is like an ideal world. We were going to talk about this. But guys, those are the basic tenets of Newsela, that differentiation component, that accessibility piece, that equity piece. That's really what we were founded in. And that's really what we're hoping to be able to partner with all of you on throughout the course of this distance learning that we're all tackling right now. So now I'm going to kick it off to my lovely assistant, Tyler here, who is going to walk through, we introduced some new resources. He's going to talk about that and how those resources are going to be able to support you guys in distance learning while also remaining true to those basic tenets of Newsela that we just reviewed.
All right. I'm going to share my screen, Jenna, if you
Yep.
unshare yours. There you go.
Great.
All right. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right. So what Jenna was talking about, like the basic elements of Newsela, that's not changing. So if you used Newsela before, this landing page is going to look the same. It's going to be the current events that you're looking for, all these different types of articles. Every article on our platform has 5 different reading levels built into it, ranging from grade 2 through 12. We actually go down to the first grade level according to Lexile levels. Our Lexile bands don't overlap. So part of our second grade based articles do venture into that first grade reading level. So really it's first grade through 12. But here's the thing, with Newsela in the classroom, you can go and you can search, you can find articles, and you can build things on your own. That's great. But one of the pieces of feedback that we got from teachers was we needed more resources. They didn't have time to build out all these different activities, these different lessons, curate all these different articles. So that's where we came up with this idea for building out these new products. So we built out an ELA, a social studies, and a science product. Each one is going to have curation of articles. It's going to have resources. It's going to have lesson plans, activities, projects, all those different elements packaged right in the platform for you. So that way you can easily get on there, identify like what you need, pull it, and start manipulating and using it how you want to within your own classroom. So I'm going to show you guys the ELA product. The structure and layout is going to be very similar for the social studies and science. I'll click into them and show you, but I also don't want to sit here and just talk and talk and talk and walk through products and bore everyone. So I'm going to show you guys one, and then we'll pause and we'll answer questions, and then I'll show you what distance learning resources we have available after that. So let me dive into the ELA product. It's going to look a little bit different than you're used to. So once you get to this page, it's going to have our current events at the top. That's not going to change from the main page. It's always going to be up here. We're publishing articles every single day. So this is always going to be live and changing. The two biggest pieces that are going to be different are these content rows here in the middle. And then on the left-hand side, there are collections that we've built out and curated. So this middle section is going to be timely and relevant articles for like what's going on right now in the world. So for example, just for students. So students are at home learning right now. Here are some different things to engage them while they're sitting at home. You know, here's March Madness fiction. Sadly, March Madness. Ready to go research projects. This middle section is going to change throughout the school year. So if you went to the social studies one in August or October, you'd probably see something about the legacy of Christopher Columbus. Or if you went to the science one throughout the year, like springtime, they might be talking about like storms and things like that. So it's always going to be updating and changing throughout the year. So it's never going to look the same. Hopefully by, this time next school year, this will have nothing to do with distance learning and we'll all just be back to normal. On the left-hand side, you're going to notice this is where our curation element that I talked about happens. So we're going to talk about the distance learning activities here in a second. I want to focus on some of the other elements. So what we've done is we've built collections based on instructional strategies, curriculums, and then just like foundational elements of these different subjects. So you'll notice things like novel studies, research projects, pairing fiction with nonfiction, articles curated around certain like standards and skills that you're working on. And then second piece is our curriculum complements. So let's say, for example, you use something like Lucy Calkins' units of study. What we've done is we've aligned, to their scope and sequence, and we've added more depth into these content areas, these curriculums. So they'll have more articles, you'll have differentiation, you'll have resources, activities to go along with some of the curriculums that you're already using. So like HMH journeys, if it's social studies, we have things like TCI, History Alive, or science, we partner with like Mystery Science. So all different curriculums we partner or use free use agreements with to add in more depth. And then the last piece, I call this like the foundational area for each one. So social studies, science is gonna have the same area. For this one, for ELA, you're gonna have fiction articles, poetry. You're gonna have articles by theme. So if you're teaching like duty and loyalty or community, we'll have articles already built out around those themes that you're teaching. For social studies, it's gonna be the content areas like U.S. history, world history, civics. Science is gonna be, you know, life science, earth science, content areas like that. What I'm gonna show you real quick before I pause and turn it over to you, I just wanna give you an example of what these collections all contain. So I'm gonna do a novel study. And I'm gonna go into the elementary level novels. And I'm gonna go with, oh, what novel are we feeling like today? Let's go with James and the Giant Peach. One of my, I'm not gonna say my least favorite stories just because it kind of creeped me out as a kid. But it's right up there, like right next to like probably Jane Eyre as two of my least favorite novels of all time. So no offense if you're a Jane Eyre or Giant Peach fan, but just not for me. But you can see with this, when you click into the novel study, you're going to see articles that are curated around this topic as it slowly loads here. I'm going to choose another one real quick because it's, I don't know if that one's just being weird and loading. There we go. So you're going to see articles already sourced out, matching up with like the content, the background, some connections to current events. So really just helping provide a more across the board understanding of the novels that you're reading. I do want to jump back real quick to show you one other version of this. Let's go back. I'm going to look at the middle school ones real quick. And I'm going to choose Tuck Everlasting as it slowly loads once again. What's going to happen is on its right-hand side, it's going to pop up a resource. And this resource is called a Lesson Spark. It's going to have different elements of activities. There we go. It's going to show you different lesson plans. It's going to show you how you might use these articles with different types of organizers and activities. So every novel is going to have this element built into it. I don't know why it wasn't loading earlier. It's kind of slow. My internet's being a little weird today. But every collection, so if you click on Lucy Calkins or you click on pairing fiction and nonfiction, it's going to have some element of not just here's the articles, but also here's a resource you can use with this. So it's really that next level curation piece of it. The social studies product, like I said, is going to be laid out the exact same way. Current events, rows of collections, and then also the collections on the left-hand side. It's going to have same layout, same structure, with the foundational text at the bottom left. Science is going to be the same way too, where it's current events, rows, different types of science learning, collections of curriculum, and then like different content areas. So similar layout and all. I really encourage everyone to just kind of explore. It's one of the things I love about Newsela. It's a very simple platform to use, very straightforward. Everything's about 1 or 2 clicks away. So I'm going to pause with the content element of it. And then after I take some questions, anything that you might have, I will dive into like the distance learning and some of those elements of that. So what questions might we have? And I know it's not like, hey, Tyler did such an amazing job. How could I ever have questions? Feel free to shout them out or add them to the chat. Or if you're like, you know what, that makes sense. We can dive into the distance learning, whatever we want to do. I'll give us about 30 seconds more. And if not, I'll show you what we built out specifically for distance learning.
And Tyler, take a look at chat too. So people are throwing things into the chat.
Nothing in the chat yet that I'm seeing.
So could you give an example of what you would do if you were going to assign this Tuck Everlasting to a group? What would the students see? And what would you do first and then after the student does what they need to do?
Yes, I can show you that. Yep, definitely. So let's say I'm going to show you just one article. So maybe at this point, I want to assign just one article of this text set to my students. I'm going to assign them the journalist one here. I would click into it. It's very easy. It's going to pull up the article. Once I'm in this article, I'm going to have a couple different options of how I can scaffold and personalize the learning for all my students within this article. As it, once again, just slowly loading today. We're struggling with the internet.
And all of those articles that you chose from are related to Tuck Everlasting?
Yep. So
okay.
That was within the Tuck Everlasting collection.
Okay.
Every one of those articles is going to have in the top right 5 different reading levels associated with it. So this is at the max level. Let's see, it's going to be at the 12th grade level, but I can also adapt this text all the way down to the 550 level, so it'll be at the 3rd grade reading level. So it adapts the entire text. The structure, the layout's going to change, but that content element within that article is going to stay the same. Once you're in the article, you're going to have a couple different options. Let's say you can't assign digitally right now. Every article you can easily print with the quiz attached to it. So we allow that. It has PDFs. You can print it, send it out. Or if you're assigning digitally, every article is going to have activities. It's going to have a 4-question quiz built into it, ready to go. And these quizzes are what helps us set the reading levels. So after your students take roughly 5 quizzes, we'll identify what their reading level is. And then when you go to hit assign, we'll auto-differentiate for you. So you don't have to worry about sending this article to this kid at this level, and this level, and spend all that time. We identify their levels, you hit assign, every student will get it at the appropriate level for them. With that, we also send out a writing prompt with every article. It's built in. You can also go in and edit if you want to change it, add in your own questions. And then with every article, you can also go in, I'm talking about like diving into a text and really start breaking it down. You as a teacher can highlight text, annotate it, and point out certain elements of a text to a student or ask questions, use signposts, stop and turn. But students can also go through a text, highlight, and annotate any part of it. You'll be able to see that element and also be able to comment on that too. So it's both teacher and student facing, but it's really what we talk about. Like, we want kids to be critical consumers and not just consumers of reading. We want them to really start slowing down, diving in, and thinking. This allows us to really start doing that with these annotations that you can build in and scaffold. I will point out, because it's kind of a tricky element, if what annotation I create at one level doesn't automatically go to the other levels within that 5-article range. And the reason why is questions we ask at the 12th grade level probably aren't going to be the same questions we're asking a reader at the 3rd grade level. So it allows you to really personalize that pathway. If you have kids that are, a struggling group, they're going to get that lower level, you can add in more scaffolding. The higher levels, maybe you don't add in as much scaffolding or certain types of questions. So you have that all set up, very easy. You click assign. It's going to pull you into this page, and you just simply choose your class and you send it out, and kids can access it. And then you can grade it once they complete it. Very straightforward process. Everything as this loads, anything that you want to grade is going to be underneath your binder. So once you assign this, it's going to actually pull you into your binder page, which is assignments. You can go right there, click on the assignment you want to grade, and you're good to go. So only a few clicks, very straightforward. It allows for you to really, process and go through things very quickly on the platform. So any other questions? I kind of went on a tangent a little bit there, but I want to make sure that we could see what that process looks like. What else do we have? We currently don't have a read aloud feature built into the platform. It's something that we're looking into, but I do recommend a couple different read aloud options. If you're using Chrome extensions, Google Read and Write is a really good one to use. It's very straightforward. You just open it up, you click the text that you want to read, and it reads to you. Students. It's very user friendly. And then also Helperbird is another one that I like quite a bit. It's more so like accessibility, things like dyslexia font, color blindness. It has immersive reader built into it. So Google Read Write, Helper Bird are probably two of my favorite that you can do some of that read aloud element into it. And then Sarah, is there a benchmark test? We do have a benchmark test. It's called our reading skills check. It's going to be underneath your content, and it's going to give 9 articles. You're going to pick 3 articles. Students will pick 3 articles, and then they'll do the quizzes with it. The quizzes are a little bit longer than a normal quiz, but if after they take that, we'll automatically set their reading level, or it's simply after a student does any quiz, 5 quizzes, we'll start setting it for them. So it's 2 pathways: under your content reading skills check, or just letting them take the quizzes and accumulate those quizzes over time. Next question, how compatible is with Google Classroom? Google Classroom is probably my favorite integration. It's really, really simple. You sign into Google, into Newsela through Google. You go to your settings. As long as you have your Google Classroom set up and your roster set up, your life's going to be very, very easy. All you're going to do is come to Newsela settings. You'll click into your classes, and then it's going to say sync with Google. So let me show you here. Once you're in classes, it's going to give you this blue button right here, sync with Google. You'll click it, and you'll be able to import all your rosters. That way kids don't have to manually add themselves to your class. They'll already be enrolled as soon as they click into it. And then we also, after you assign articles on Newsela, on the assignment page, you can actually share that assignment back into Google Classroom. So pretty compatible. It's really easy. Takes just a couple seconds to actually sync, and you're off and running. All right, any other questions before I show you guys our distance learning elements? And then
I
Use
think
Tyler there. There we go.
Tyler's internet just cut out, so that's totally fine. So while we wait for him to hop back on here, I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen again. Just give me a quick second here, guys, to pull up those distance. Oh, you're back?
I'm here.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yep, just a slight hiccup. I'm pretty sure my 4-year-old is streaming something upstairs. I would almost put money on it being Frozen 2. But I am back. Let me share my screen. Sorry about that. Gotta love the internet right now with all the craziness. All right, so I wanted to show you our distance learning elements. So I'm gonna jump back into our ELA product. There's 2 things I wanna show you. Every product is gonna have a distance learning tab already built out for you guys. So when you go into these distance learning tabs, it's gonna have activities, assignments, lesson plans, articles sourced around all different types of topics that are already developed to be assigned digitally and completed remotely. So as this loads, I'll show you that. And then I'm also going to show you our daily lesson plans. This is something that I'm really excited for the elementary level especially. We've actually created cross-curricular like 15 to 20 minute activities that are going to be coming out daily and a week in advance for all you to kind of use. And, you know, like I said, it's really kind of that weird time of like, how much do we assign? We really wanted to make sure that they were short and quick activities, 15 to 20, 25 minutes at most. So I apologize, my internet is running extremely slow. Jenna, I might kick it over to you to pull up and I can talk through. Oh, no. So with these distance learning, when you actually go and you click into them, it's going to show us all the different activities that we already have built out, that we've sourced. You think things like built around writing. In this writing one, we have a 30-day writing prompt challenge where every day we're going to have a new writing prompt, an article that goes with it, and just something to kind of get kids active and engaged and thinking about what's going on. We have articles about like diving into fiction, different genres. So just different activities. I know it's really right now, like a lot of places are saying like no new content. So this is a lot of like building on skills, writing practice, reading practice, things built around that to really help supplement what you're doing right now. And then let me jump back real quick one page. The daily lessons I want to show you. So these are coming. We have our first week already ready to go. You're going to click into this daily lesson and you're going to get this PDF. It's going to show you all the activities. It's going to give you an overview, a table of contents, and then you'll see for each day we're going to have a social studies, an ELA, a science, and then like a mindful thought activity already built out, short, quick activities for you to use, and they're going to be paired with different Newsela articles within it. So those are our two biggest elements. This is going to be in all the products. So social studies and science, we have ones that are designed specifically for those subject areas. And then we also have SEL built out too. So if you want to dive into like SEL, distance learning, we have tools set up for that. That one's really unique because we have a lot of that is more so for like parents and caregivers and teachers to really show, you know, how we can use these different SEL tactics and skills at home. And it has a lot of activities that are designed to like practice those, you know, mindful thinking or how to handle anxiety or keeping in touch with friends. It has all those different activities built into it, ready to go to really help students that are, you know, this is tough for everyone, helping them cope with what's going on, how everything's kind of been turned upside down. So we have all that ready to go. I really encourage you guys click and explore through. Is there anything I can show you though with the distance learning element or any questions you might have about that? It's been a lot of me talking for the last 20 minutes. I am a former history teacher though, so I think that's like second nature to like get up and just keep talking. And if there's no questions on the distance learning part of it, really we can open up this time to just what supports do you guys need? How can we help? What do you guys need from us? That's really our role right now, is making sure that people have the supports that they need and they feel comfortable using this. So anything we can do to help right now is definitely let us know.
And for everyone on the line that might not have access to these resources, if you just go to Newsela's site, right when you go to newsela.com, there should be a link that just asks you if you want to sign up for these. It takes 2 seconds, and basically you just put in your email address, you create your account, and then you're going to have access to everything that Tyler just showed you. One other option is we're partnering with a ton of districts throughout the state as well to turn this on district-wide. If that's something you think your district would be interested in, there's that option when you go to that page as well, or you can route them to myself, to Tyler, to Lauren, and we're able to turn that on within 24 hours and then support you guys from a district standpoint. Now it seems like we do have some questions coming into the chat here. So how do we check student work? How do we show grades to students? So Tyler, you want to pull up the binder and walk folks through that?
Yep, give me 1 sec, I'll share my screen.
Great, hopefully, right?
Right, maybe. I'm struggling over here today. All right, so on your screen, you're gonna see binder in the top right next to your name. You're gonna go binder, you're gonna click assignments. And then once you're in this assignment page, it's gonna show you every single assignment you pushed out to students. You're gonna be able to see what students have read the article. You'll be able to see if they completed the quiz, the writing prompt, did they complete annotations. It's going to show you all that. And then once you actually click into the student or click into the assignment, it's going to spin for a minute. This wonderful wheel of color that we give you. And you'll be able to actually go down, you'll be able to click on the student and actually go in to actually grade exactly what that student did. So you'll be able to see the quiz score, you'll be able to see their writing prompt, you'll be able to see annotations, you'll be able to see all those different elements for that student. And that's how you do the day-to-day grading. Once you grade it, so quiz scores are automatic. Students will see what they got on their quiz as soon as they complete the quiz. And then for the writing prompt and things like that, they'll have to go back into the assignment just to see what their score was, or they can go to their own binder and see their own progress within that page. So how this is laid out is how students also see a lot of it. They'll see binder, they'll go to like your progress, it's called in their tab, and they'll be able to see what grades you actually gave them. So it's very easy to grade. Once you have all your students, you'll be able to see, just click down the list and grade each one individually as you go through. What other questions? You can, so we have something called an activity feed. So you can see when like students submit quizzes or submit writing prompts. That's going to be the easiest way to see it, or jumping into the assignment. The way I did it was I would just go to the assignment page, and after the due date, I would usually tell my kids to like somehow like either notify me. If right now, it'll probably be an email, or I would just check and monitor the assignments that I'm pushing out. So it tells you on the very top of the card, like, hey, 12 out of 14 students have viewed this activity. That's kind of a quick indicator to see who's completed, who's not completed. So you'll see like the student view. There's really no great way of like, doesn't like alert you if they're late. You'll have to go back in and check. What other questions can we answer? It's what time have we got? 12 or 1:42. Want to be mindful of your guys' time. And if there aren't questions, I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat channel. If you guys have any questions or looking for more resources, or hey, how do I do this, set up classes, any of those things, don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I do at Newsela, help support teachers and implementation. So definitely reach out and let me know if there's anything I can do to assist. And it looks like Jenna also just put her email in there too. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out and let us know how we can help. Jenna or Lauren, do you guys have anything else to add?
Seriously appreciate all of you taking some time out of your day to learn about Newsela, and hopefully we are able to support all of you for the next couple of months. Reach out with any questions that you might have. And ideally we can work with Paul to provide some maybe additional webinars or resources that then he can disseminate to everyone.
Excellent. Thank you, Jenna. I really appreciate that. And great job sharing all these amazing resources that we have available to us. Just a quick note to everybody that once we are done here, we'll go ahead and get this video shared out. I'm actually going to stop our recording right now.